When a voice you've heard your entire childhood suddenly goes silent, the world stops for just a moment. Jeff Garcia, the man who made Sheen Estevez jump off your TV screen every Saturday morning, is gone at just 50 years old. But wait until you hear what his final months were really like, because what happened behind the scenes is something nobody saw coming. Jeff Garcia wasn't just another voice actor collecting paychecks from Nickelodeon. This man defined an entire generation's Saturday mornings. And when news broke that he'd been taken off life support at a Southern California hospital, the internet exploded with grief. His son, Jojo, dropped the announcement on Instagram, and within minutes, fans who grew up screaming Ultralord at their TVs were now crying over their keyboards. The tributes flooded in so fast that social media couldn't keep up. People weren't just mourning a celebrity, they were mourning their childhood. Here's where things get intense. Garcia's health had been spiraling for months, but he kept it quiet. Back in spring, he suffered a brain aneurysm that caused him to fall and smash his head. Most people would have taken a break, stepped back from the spotlight. Not Jeff. He recovered, pushed through, kept performing. That's the kind of fighter he was. But the universe wasn't done testing him yet. Just weeks ago, Garcia had a stroke. Think about that for a second. The man who brought so much energy and life to Sheen Estevez, who could make you laugh until your stomach hurt, was fighting for his life behind closed doors. And here's the part that'll break your heart. Sources close to the family revealed that Jeff had been canceling comedy shows recently, something he never did. For a performer who lived and breathed the stage, that was the first red flag that something was seriously wrong. November 20th. That's when Garcia first got hospitalized with pneumonia. The doctors treated him, he seemed to bounce back, and everyone thought he'd dodged another bullet. He was discharged, went home, probably thought the worst was over. But Monday rolled around, and Garcia couldn't breathe properly. He rushed back to the hospital, and Tuesday morning his lung completely collapsed. Within hours, he was on life support, surrounded by the people who loved him most. Let's talk about who Jeff Garcia really was, because this story gets deeper. Born May 3, 1975 in Irvine, California, Garcia started doing stand-up comedy in 1991 when he was barely 16 years old. Picture a teenager getting up on stage at Southern California comedy clubs, testing jokes, bombing sometimes, learning the craft. That's dedication. He spent the entire 90s grinding at places like the Laugh Factory, perfecting his timing, developing that signature brash humor that would later make Sheen Estevez so unforgettable. 1995 marked his transition into acting, but comedy never left his blood. Garcia was that rare talent who could make you laugh whether you saw his face or just heard his voice. When he landed the role of Sheen Estevez in the 2001 film Jimmy Neutron Sheen Estevez, everything changed. The movie exploded, raking in over $103 million worldwide. Suddenly, Garcia's voice was everywhere. Kids quoted his lines at school. Parents recognized that manic energy instantly. Sheen became iconic, and Garcia became immortal in the animation world. The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius ran from 2002 to 2006, 59 episodes of pure nostalgia. Garcia voiced Sheen in every single one, bringing that hyperactive, ultra-lord-obsessed best friend to life in ways that still hit different today. And when Nickelodeon greenlit Planet Sheen, a spin-off centered entirely around his character, Garcia proved he could carry a show. 26 episodes from 2010 to 2013, all focused on the character he'd built from scratch. But Garcia's voice acting resume reads like a tour through your childhood DVD collection. He was Pip the Mouse in Barnyard and its TV series Back at the Barnyard. He voiced Ronaldo the Penguin in both Happy Feet movies. Rio and Rio 2 featured his work. Marmaduke. The list goes on and on. Every time you watched an animated film in the 2000s, there was a solid chance Jeff Garcia was somewhere in the mix, making magic happen from a recording booth. Meanwhile, his stand-up career never stopped. Garcia performed regularly at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, that legendary comedy club where careers are made or broken.
Jamie Masada, who owns the venue, told reporters that Jeff was special, not just talented, but special. Garcia used his success to give back to the Latino community, inspiring young comics, opening doors, being the mentor he wished he'd had. After Garcia passed, the Laugh Factory honored him with a tribute on their iconic Hollywood marquee. That's respect. That's legacy. Comedy Central presents Garcia in 2006, giving him a half-hour special to showcase his stand-up skills to a national audience. He appeared on Comics Unleashed just weeks before his death in late October, still grinding, still performing, still making people laugh even as his body was breaking down. That appearance haunts fans now, knowing what was happening behind the scenes. Garcia's personal life had its share of complexity too. He married Lisa Garcia in 2002, and together they had 2 children, Savannah and Joseph. The marriage ended in 2013, but Garcia remained devoted to his kids. Jojo followed in his father's footsteps, pursuing comedy, and the two talked every single day. That bond shines through in Jojo's tribute, where he called Jeff not just his father, but his best friend, his hero, the person who believed in him when nobody else did. The tribute Jojo posted is absolutely devastating. He wrote about how his father was unapologetically himself, how Jeff taught him lessons he lives by daily, how that unique soul impacted millions whether they watched Jimmy Neutron as kids or caught one of his comedy shows as adults. Jojo promised to make his father proud, to carry on that legacy, to keep the name Jeff Garcia alive. Reading those words, you can feel the weight of losing not just a parent, but a mentor, a friend, a guiding light. Debi Derryberry, who voiced Jimmy Neutron himself, shared her own heartbreak on Instagram. She mentioned seeing Garcia just months ago at a convention, how he was still the funniest person in any room, how the entire cast would miss him. These weren't just co-workers, they were a family built over years of recording sessions and fan events. Losing Garcia ripped a hole through that community.
The fan reaction tells you everything about Garcia's impact. Social media went absolutely wild. Comments poured in from people sharing their favorite Sheen moments, posting crying emojis, admitting they didn't even know the actor's name, but his voice was burned into their memory. One fan summed it up perfectly: "Sheen will live on forever." Another wrote, "This hits hard. Dude was still so young." The disbelief was real, the grief was genuine, and the tributes kept multiplying by the hour. Comedy World figures chimed in too. Eric Schwartz, a fellow comedian, credited Garcia as one of the first to believe in him, calling Jeff instrumental in his early development. Garcia didn't just perform, he lifted others up, gave opportunities, created space for new talent. That generosity of spirit is rare in any industry, but especially in comedy, where competition can be cutthroat. Garcia was even involved in charity work through Gracie's Fund, supporting a young woman who survived being shot by her own mother. He performed benefit shows, donated proceeds from his DVD and CD sales, used his platform for good. That's the kind of human being Jeff Garcia was. Talented, yes. Funny, absolutely. But also compassionate, driven, and deeply connected to making the world better. The final performance Garcia was scheduled for featured him and his son Jojo on the same comedy bill back in October. Father and son, sharing the stage, passing the torch. That never happened now, but the symbolism remains powerful. Jojo has his father's talent, his father's drive, and now carries the weight of continuing that legacy. Garcia's voice work extended beyond just entertainment. He recently voiced Sheen in the 2025 video game Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny, proving his character remained relevant decades after the original movie. New generations were still discovering Sheen, still falling in love with that manic energy, still quoting the lines Garcia perfected. As tributes continue flooding in from around the world, one truth becomes crystal clear. Jeff Garcia didn't just voice a cartoon character. He created a piece of childhood magic that millions of people carry with them. Every time someone rewatches Jimmy Neutron, every time a parent introduces their kid to the show, every time someone quotes Sheen at a party, Jeff Garcia lives on. His son was right. He may be gone, but he'll never be forgotten. The talent was one of a kind. The impact was international. The loss is immeasurable. Fly high, Rocket Man. Your voice will echo through generations.